we have seen a climb down on the land bill, but the fact remains that it's looking more and more imminent now that this monsoon session is going to be an absolute washout.
That's right, Taneia. We've got a power-packed panel to debate just that and the implications that it's going to have on the broader economy. Nalin Kohli of the BJP, Sanjay Jha of Congress, and Prabhu Chawla of the New Indian Express to put it all in perspective. Thanks, gentlemen, for speaking to us. Nalin, I'm going to start off with you. Since the Congress has made it clear that they will allow the conduct of Parliament only if the tainted ministers quit, and your Prime Minister has made it very clear that there's no question of anyone resigning, do you think now the monsoon session is headed for a complete washout?
I would not like to immediately see it in that manner, because after all it is to the wisdom of Parliament to decide whether a session will continue or not. And as far as we are concerned, we would hope that the Congress party comes to Parliament and discusses the issues. The primary thing here is, and it's interesting to note, that the government is ready for a discussion on any subject. The government is not running away from any discussion, but unfortunately the Congress party seems to be running away from the discussion, perhaps because they may feel that they have nothing to hold in that discussion.
Well, Nalin wouldn't say, Sanjay, but you know, the fact remains that most believe the monsoon session is indeed headed for a washout. Do you not believe that it's a big risk that you're taking by not letting the House function?
The principal responsibility of making the Parliament function smoothly is entirely with Mr. Modi's government. But the decision that they have taken today to suspend members of the Congress party smacks of a typical, dictatorial attitude. I don't think this government ever had any intention to pass the bills like GST and the land acquisition bill. Don't forget that this government actually curtailed the session of monsoon from 4 weeks to 3 weeks. So, there has been a lot of concern about their intentions at the very outset. And they were, probably aware that corruption in Vyapam, in the PDS scam of 36,000 crore in Chhattisgarh, the issue of Vasundhara Raje in Rajasthan, and of course Sushma Swaraj herself will be taken up not just by the Congress party but by all opposition parties. And the Prime Minister's deafening silence has obviously been very eloquent. So I think this government actually has had no intention to pass the bills, and it is only trying to deflect responsibility by blaming the opposition.
Mr. Chawla, but the fact remains that it's the economy that's really caught in the crossfire. How are you looking at it? Do you believe that somewhere it's time that we saw the Congress party behave a little more maturely?
You see, Congress party should mature, because Congress party, one has to be very fair. Congress party is during the last 10 years of UPA, you look at the economic growth here, look at the average has been 7 to 8%. Whatever maximum reforms they have done it. BJP also did it. Vajpayee government did the maximum reform. Why you are expecting to be responsible? The question is, land bill or GST are going to make much more difference to the economic growth or not. This government without the Parliament has to look after how to revive the steel sector, real estate sector, look at the power sector, look at the banking sector which is sinking almost, the whole capital is being wiped out. These can be done without the Parliament support even. Why can't you revive the banks? Why can't you revive the real estate sector? You have already, on the FDI front, you have made so many rules. There has to be confidence in the government. What is happening now, because of the non-performance of the ground, real estate is going down. Your manufacturing growth, you must have seen, it came down from 6% last year, month-on-month basis, to 3% now. So it is not happening because the Congress party is misbehaving. It is happening because people are not interested in investing in the manufacturing sector. So you have to revive the confidence. Congress party must behave responsibly. Yes, they have been the ruling party. But the question is, for 10 years when they were in opposition, they also behave in the same manner. So what I am saying is, Prime Minister Modi has got the mandate. He knows how to convert development model, implement it. He should forget about the criticism of the Congress party, should not blame the Congress party, must go on and use the executive to implement these promises through the administrative system, which is powerful enough.
Nalin Kohli, comment on that. You're blaming the Congress for the current state of affairs, but like Mr. Chawla pointed out, is it a legitimate complaint, given that your conduct was no different when you were in the opposition and when the Congress party was sitting in the Treasury benches, where you stalled the House for a pretty long spell as well? How do you justify this behavior?
Again, that needs to be seen in context and based on facts. In the first tenure of the UPA, certainly the BJP did not. It's only when the biggest scams came out, whether it was 2G, Colgate, CWG, the Commonwealth Games, It is only at that time, and all of these eventually ended up in the courts and strictures were passed. Some cases the licenses were reversed. So when all of this took place and when we found the government was not responsive, was stalling independent inquiry, was not willing to take action against clear instances of gross misuse and wastage of public funds and corruption, it is at that point that the BJP as a last alternative resorted to obstructionism. I would also like to point that while the Congress party leaders consistently demand explanations from the Prime Minister, I don't recall the Prime Minister, or certainly not the Congress top leadership, Mrs. Sonia Gandhi or Mr. Rahul Gandhi, speaking on either 2G or Colgate or even Commonwealth Games.
Right. Sanjay Jha, comment on that. At the end of the day, you know, because of the behavior of the Congress party, probably the most important economic legislation, which is GST, is being stalled. And this is one that the Congress was the one which originally mooted the bill. And today you're making sure that the bill doesn't see the light of the day. Isn't that unacceptable behavior?
Well, you know, if you look at the GST bill, you're completely right. This is a constructed, conceptualized, and, you know, made into a very fine bill by the Congress party. If anybody delayed its implementation over the last several years, it was the BJP-ruled states, particularly one led by Mr. Narendra Modi himself when he was the Gujarat chief minister, which was nothing but, you know, political rhetoric and opposition. Now, what are we saying? We are not delaying the GST bill at all. There are two aspects here. One, there are certain fault lines in the GST bill. To give you one example, we are against the 1% interstate tax, which will actually have a cascading effect and defies the very principle of the GST bill. One amongst 4 or 5 clauses that we have recommended some amendments in. But the larger issue is that we have said that you need to have high standards of public office and propriety, and it is only appropriate that Sushma Swaraj and the chief ministers of Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan resign so that you have a very transparent investigation into corruption allegations against them. So there are, you know, I think end of day the Bharatiya Janata Party is clearly shirking away from a responsibility and running away from accountability as well.
Mr. Kohli, my question is for you then. You know, we understand that the government has extended an olive branch promising to roll back all amendments to the land bill. Do you believe this will somewhere help break the ice?
Well, there is a joint parliamentary committee which is looking at it. And once that is looking at it, then therefore it's the property of that. It is up to them to make their suggestions. That is not restricted only to the BJP or the government or the treasury benches. So I think we need to have that patience. If 4 days have been extended, that is obviously at the request of the members there, because they must have felt the need to want to do something there.
What's your take, Mr. Jha? It's all about, you know, give some, take some. Having said that, you know, can we expect some sort of a softer stance from the Congress?
Well, you know, I haven't heard any official statement from the government. All we have heard so far are, you know, I have seen some news reports on TV channels that the government has done a U-turn. But the truth of the matter, and this is what we have always maintained, is that the original bill passed during the time of the Congress-led UPA was never really tested in reality. The moment the BJP came into power, they said we want to force certain amendments, which defied logic because end of day, the UPA had taken into account the full support of all the parties, and the BJP had been a supporter of the bill in Parliament. They passed the bill, they supported it. Also, other stakeholders like industry, farmers, analysts, you know, various other bodies who are crucially affected by the bill were all considered, their opinions were incorporated. Therefore, I don't know what the final position of the government is, but if they have finally accepted that the original bill ought to be implemented, we will respond to it once an official statement is made.
Sure. You know, Mr. Chawla, clamp down on the land bill is going to be a huge disappointment for corporate India, but probably they'll settle for it simply because this could pave the way for resolution or for the deadlock to be broken in Parliament. Do you think this is going to help? Will this break the deadlock?
It depends on the final composition of the bill, how they are going to revise the bill. That depends on that, because Congress party has been insisting that they will not accept any change in the bill which was they present in the last parliament, 213 bill. Congress party has been insisting no change at all. Now we have to wait for the report of the joint parliamentary committee, which was supposed to submit its report today, which had sought 3 days extension. If the bill is not what the Congress party wants, then you can't expect the Congress party to go back to the House and allow the bill to be passed. So still I am saying that I can say olive branch is coming through the TV channels because no briefing has been done by any government officer or a minister concerned. It is already unofficial briefing which is coming, probably maybe to seek the reaction from the other side, because the Congress party has given a statement that unless we see the bill, we really can't commit. So I would say I would wait for the parliamentary committee report before the bill comes. Therefore, after that, Congress party will take its stand, because what happened today, I don't think there is any ground for meeting of the two parties. Because first time in the history of parliament, you have suspended 60% of the parliamentary membership of the Congress party. 27 MPs have been suspended from participating in the House, along with 7 other parties are not going to participate. And in the morning, Sonia Gandhi gave a very strong statement against the ruling party. So I don't see any possibility at the moment.
What's the signal from the government here, Nalin Kohli? Probably you can throw some light on that. Is it pretty simple, save GST by sacrificing the land bill?
No, I don't think this is how it runs. What has to be done by the government and therefore through parliament is in the interest of the country. You don't in any way compromise the interest of the country for political deal making. At the end of the day, the responsibility of the country going forward, while the executive is in the hand of the treasury benches after a government is elected, parliament is the collective will of the people. And parliament has also in this last 1 year transacted a lot of business. So we will hope that good sense prevails and parliament is able to achieve what people are hoping that it does: discuss, debate and pass legislation in the interest of the country. And that's what we would expect from the opposition parties, because they are not divorced, or they shouldn't expect themselves to be divorced from the development of India.
Mr. Chawla, we let you have the last word, and many would say that this is a BJP ploy, but the crucial issue of tainted ministers remains. Do you think the Congress could perhaps bite the bait though?
No, Congress, because if you read the statement which Sonia Gandhi has given, that unless our conditions are accepted, because what happened, they have raised issues like Congress party saying, then our minister was asked to resign, like Subed Kant Sahai and there are other couple of ministers they have named, when there were no charges against them, legal charges or FIRs. Even then BJP did not allow the House to function for many days, and minister had to resign without any formal FIR or a judicial verdict against them. So Congress party is quoting back, paying the BJP in the same coin, that when you ask for the resignations of our ministers, when there were no cases against them, we obliged them for the sake of democracy. So we expect the same treatment from the BJP. So I don't think they will also compromise on the BJP tainted ministers. I think confrontation this House, I think, is going to be a total washout, because only 5 working days are left now, if you include tomorrow and this week 3 days and 3 days next week. So hardly anything is possible. I don't think Bihar election is other compulsion, because both the parties are looking at the Bihar election. Therefore, nobody would like to compromise on anything.
All right, gentlemen. Thanks so much for that, all three of you. Thanks so much for taking time out for us this evening.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNowLive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.